you what you thought muscular dystrophy was, I wonder what you'd say. Most people have never heard of it, and to be honest, I'd never actually heard of it until my cousin was diagnosed with it. So I wanted to do a speech on this topic to spread awareness of it. And in short, muscular dystrophy is a group of genetic conditions that gradually cause the muscles to weaken, which leads to an increasing level of disability over a long period of time. There are many types of muscular dystrophy. I've listed some of them here, but they've all got really long, big names. But I'm going to focus on Duchenne muscular dystrophy, which is what my cousin has, and it is the most severe and common form. In the UK, there are currently about 2,500 people living with DMD, and it affects around 1 person in 8,000. It typically affects young boys, but in rare cases it can affect girls as well. However, with girls it's generally less severe. The symptoms usually start to show when they are about 2 or 3, firstly affecting lower external muscles, so sort of the legs, and then the upper internal muscles, and then they lead to progressing weakness affecting the heart and respiratory muscles as well. So as the child gets older, instead of getting stronger, they get weaker. And after getting to the point where there's respiratory failure, unfortunately most boys do not live into their 20s because it is 100% fatal. And sorry, those are just the facts that I've just been saying. Unfortunately, there is no cure for DMD. However, due to the advances in technologies and treatments, there are more and more boys who are living into their 20s. And there has been a medication that has been developed to try and slow down the weakening of the muscles, and this is called Translarna. Steroids can also be used to try and prolong the strength of muscles. However, it is not a cure, and the Translarna costs £222,000 a year for those who cannot access the NHS. So it is extremely expensive, and not everyone in the world can access it. In my cousin's situation, he's currently 7, is already at the stage where he's in a wheelchair, and he now has an assistance dog that comes to school with him and does basic tasks like opening doors, because he's not strong enough to do that on his own. And it has been incredibly difficult for him over the years, because he's never been able to run around with boys at school, which is incredibly difficult because growing up that is generally what boys do. Because he knows that his legs don't work the same way. And this shows how much of an impact it can have on young boys and their families so long in their life. It may seem like a rough life for sufferers, and it is, but there is hope. There are research funds like the Duchenne Research Fund here, whose aim is to stop muscular dystrophy being a death sentence for hundreds of thousands of boys worldwide. However, as so many people aren't aware of this illness, there just aren't enough funds to conduct enough research to make a huge difference. If we can try to promote the work of these charities, there is hope for more life for those suffering. So what can you do? If you can support charities that support DMD and research into cures, it would really help them, as there have been breakthroughs in the past. For example, Translarna, like I mentioned earlier, was not actually legal in Ireland until 2019. So my cousin's Irish, and before 2019 it was not legalised, and what we had to do was sign petitions to make it legalised. But the doctor said that if it hadn't have been, then he would have been in a lot worse of a situation now than he is. And things like signing petitions is free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it has really made a difference to his life. So there are small things that you can do to make a difference to people's life. Thank you.